Have you ever caught yourself doing something just to earn a nod of approval? Or maybe you've held back, paralyzed by the fear of what others might think. If so, you're not alone. And today we're going to explore a timeless wisdom that flips that script. Imagine this. There's a source of power inside every one of us, a source that never wavers, no matter how loud or chaotic the world gets. The ancient Stoics called this inner strength our true north. They didn't chase likes or applause. Instead, they cultivated unwavering loyalty to their own principles and dreams. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. Here's the big idea. Genuine fulfillment doesn't come from external validation. It comes from within. From the moment you decide to honor your own values, even if nobody else notices, you tap into a deep reservoir of clarity and contentment. Think about it like this. Every time you act for someone else's praise, you hand over the remote control of your life. You become a puppet, dancing to the tune of passing opinions. But the moment you choose to focus on your own path, silently, deliberately, you reclaim that control. You become the director of your own story. Now you might be wondering, okay, sounds great, but how do I actually do that? That's where two revolutionary practices come in: self-focus and silence. Self-focus means turning your attention inward, learning to know your strengths, acknowledge your weaknesses, and set goals that truly matter to you. It's not selfish, it's self-awareness. Us, and it's the foundation of every meaningful step you take. Silence isn't about shutting off conversation forever. It's about carving out moments of stillness in a world built on noise. Moments when you can think clearly, hear your intuition, and reset your priorities. These aren't just ancient ideas. Modern science backs them up. Research shows that regular periods of quiet reflection lower stress, boost creativity, and even improve physical health. But you don't have to be a philosopher to benefit, just a human looking for more focus and fulfillment. So today I'm inviting you on a simple experiment. For the next few days, carve out just 10 minutes of intentional silence. No phone, no notifications, just you and your thoughts. Notice what bubbles up. A question, a desire, a new insight. That's your inner compass speaking. And while you're at it, ask yourself, what really matters to me? Where am I giving my energy away seeking approval? How can I align my actions with my deepest values? By the end of this series, you'll have a toolkit of Stoic-inspired practices, simple, actionable, and powerful enough to transform the way you approach every day. We'll talk about how to tame distractions, build unshakable self-discipline, and cultivate inner peace that no external circumstance can steal. Because here's the truth the Stoics live by, and the truth I want you to live by: the most lasting, meaningful power comes not from chasing applause, but from mastering yourself. From a heart that listens in silence and a mind that stays focused on what truly matters. Ready to step off the treadmill of others' expectations and reclaim your own path? Then let's begin, together. Have you ever noticed how the noisiest places in your life can also be the most chaotic inside your mind? Today we're diving into one of the simplest yet most powerful tools the ancient Stoics mastered: silence. But this isn't about becoming a hermit or giving up social interaction. It's about carving out precious moments of quiet and so you can see your thoughts clearly, build emotional resilience, and even boost your health and productivity. Let's start with introspection and clarity. Picture your mind like a cluttered room. When every thought, worry, and to-do list is piled up, you can't find what really matters. Silence acts like a deep clean. By intentionally sitting in stillness for even just a few minutes, you create mental space. You begin to notice your true emotions instead of reacting on autopilot. Maybe you realize that you're anxious about an upcoming presentation or craving more connection with a friend. That clarity lets you make better decisions because they're based on what's actually in your heart, not on a jumbled noise of half-formed thoughts. Here's a quick example. Imagine you're stuck in traffic and your phone buzzes with yet another message. Without silence, you might feel your pulse race and snap off a frustrated reply. But if you've practiced quiet mornings, 10 minutes with no phone, just breathing, you're more likely to catch that tension, take a slow breath, and respond calmly. That's the magic of introspection through silence. Now on to emotional resilience. Life serves us challenges. Sometimes they come as sudden setbacks, other times as a slow drip of stress. The Stoics taught that regular silent practice strengthens patience and self-control. So when adversity strikes, you don't crumble. Think of silence as mental push-ups. Each session trains your mind to stay calm under pressure. Over time, you'll notice a change. When criticism or disappointment comes, you pause, observe your feelings, and choose how to react, rather than being hijacked by anger or fear. Let me share a quick story. A friend of mine, Sarah, started meditating in silence every morning. She isn't a philosopher, she's a busy marketing manager with 3 kids. But within weeks, she told me she felt untouchable during stressful client calls. Instead of spiraling when feedback was harsh, she'd take a moment, breathe, and speak with clarity. That inner calm wasn't luck. It would built in those silent sessions. And there's real science backing this up. Studies show that moments of quiet reduce stress hormones, lower blood pressure, and improve sleep quality. Better rest means sharper focus and more creative ideas during your workday. Have you ever noticed that your best solutions come when you're not staring at a screen? Maybe during a quiet walk or under the shower? That's your mind connecting the dots in silence. Here's a simple exercise to get started. Each morning, set a timer for 10 minutes. No phone, no distractions. Just sit comfortably, close your eyes, and observe your thoughts. Don't judge them. Imagine their clouds drifting by. Notice which thoughts repeat. Stress about your job, planning dinner, that dentist appointment, and gently guide your focus back to your breath. By the end of 10 minutes, you'll feel more centered. You can and should scale this practice throughout your day. Maybe before a big meeting, steal a moment of quiet in your parked car. Or turn off notifications during lunch and eat in silence, savoring each bite. Even a 2-minute silent pause before bed can help your brain wind down, leading to deeper, more restorative sleep. Now, here's a question for you. What would change in your life if you created these pockets of stillness? Could you approach your toughest tasks with a fresh mind? Would your relationships improve if you practiced listening in silence before speaking? I challenge you to try this for just 1 week and take note. Keep a quick journal. Jot down how you feel before and after each silent session. You might be surprised by how much peace and focus you uncover. At the end of the day, silence isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. In a world built on constant input, choosing quiet becomes a radical act of self-care and personal growth. It's how you tune into your inner compass, strengthen your emotional muscles, and unlock a level of creativity and well-being that noise can never provide. So for the next 7 days, 10 minutes of silence each morning, a brief pause before stressful moments, and mindful quiet at day's end. Notice the shifts in your energy, mood, and clarity. Then come back and share your experiences. Let's build a community of calm and chaos. Because when you master the power of silence, you are not hiding from the world. You're equipping yourself with the clearest lens through which to engage with it. And that, my friends, is true strength. Let me ask you something. When life throws you a curveball, what's your first move? Do you react on instinct, or do you pause and choose your response? Today, we're diving into what the Stoics call the art of mindful focus, learning to direct your energy where it really counts and build a life that you're proud of, not one you're filling up with other people's expectations. Control versus reaction. Epicurus once said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." Think about that next time you hit a traffic jam, get an unexpected bill, or receive tough feedback at work. You can't always control the event itself, but you can control your reaction. That moment of choice is where your power lives. Picture it. You're in back-to-back meetings, your inbox is overflowing, and your phone never stops buzzing. If you let every notification pull you away, you'll end the day feeling scattered and overwhelmed. But if you practice mindful focus, you decide in advance. I will give my full attention to this one task for the next 30 minutes, then I'll check messages. Suddenly, you're not a puppet to your phone. You're the director of your own time, self-accountability. When you eliminate the noise, Whether it's social media, news alerts, or well-meaning advice from friends, you create a space for honest self-reflection. This is where self-accountability kicks in. Ask yourself, am I making progress toward my goals, or am I measuring success by how many likes or kudos I get? Here's a simple real-world example. Let's say you want to write a novel. If you constantly compare your daily word count to other writers on social media, you'll never feel like you're doing enough. But if you set your own benchmark, say 500 words before lunch, and you hold yourself to it, then you can celebrate real wins. I wrote 500 words today, I'm on track, and I feel proud. That shift from external to internal measures is pure mindset transformation. Self-awareness. Mindful focus also means getting crystal clear on your strengths and weaknesses. Imagine you're training for a marathon. You wouldn't just wake up on race day and run 26 miles. You'd assess your current fitness, identify areas to improve, and tailor your training plan accordingly. The same principle applies to life and work. Take a moment right now. What are 3 things you do really well? And what's one habit that consistently trips you up? Maybe you're great at brainstorming big ideas, but you struggle with following through on the details. Or perhaps you're naturally organized, yet you let negative self-talk slow you down. By naming these traits, you unlock the power to lean into your strengths and create strategies to shore up your weaknesses. Practical exercise. Mapping your control landscape. Ready for a quick exercise? Grab a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. Draw 2 columns. Label one controllable and the other uncontrollable. Under controllable, list things like your attitude this morning, the effort you put into today's meeting, the questions you ask in conversation. Under uncontrollable, list items such as other people's opinions of you, the weather on your commute. Last-minute changes from a client. See that divide? When you focus on your column of controllables, you channel your energy into action. Worrying about the other side only drains you. Daily mindfulness routine. Next, let's weave mindful focus into your everyday life. I recommend a 3-part morning ritual. 1. Reflection, 2 minutes. Before you jump out of bed, close your eyes and ask, what's one intention for today? Maybe it's, I will listen more than I speak, or I will complete one challenging task before lunch. 2. Deep breathing, 2 minutes. Sit up, place a hand on your diaphragm, and take 4 slow breaths in and out. This simple act grounds you, clears mental clutter, and signals to your brain, it's time to focus. 3. Review your control list, 1 minute. Scan your controllable column. Remind yourself where you'll invest energy today. By the time you finish, you'll have just 5 minutes, but you'll carry a compass for the entire day. A personal note. I'll be honest, I used to juggle 10 tabs open, email notifications pinging nonstop, and a to-do list that felt like it was on steroids. I thought multitasking was a badge of honor. Then I hit burnout. That's when I discovered mindful focus. Cutting out one habit, checking email first thing, and replacing it with that 5-minute ritual changed everything. My work quality went up, my stress levels went down, and I found pockets of calm that felt revolutionary. Questions to ponder. What's one distraction you can silence right now, just for 10 minutes? How might redirecting your focus transform your relationship with work, family, or yourself? Posting challenge. I challenge you to try this for a week. Do the exercise. List controllables versus uncontrollable. Commit to the 5-minute morning routine. Notice how many days you stick with it and track how you feel at the end of each day. Drop your observations in the comments. I want to hear your wins and your struggles. Remember, real growth doesn't come from reacting to every ping and shout around you. It comes from choosing where to place your attention and owning your responses. That's the art of mindful focus, and it's the secret sauce for a life lived on purpose, not distraction. Ready to master your focus? Let's do this. One intentional moment at a time. Have you ever found yourself blurting out a response before you even realize what you really think? Or maybe you've later regretted a comment that slipped out in the heat of the moment. Today, we're exploring a deceptively simple but incredibly powerful Stoic practice, the discipline of staying silent. Listen more, speak less. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminded us that we have two ears and one mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Think about that for a second. In our conversations, at work, with friends, or even in the grocery line, how often do we rush to share our point of view instead of truly hearing the other person? Here's a quick exercise. Next time someone is talking, whether it's a colleague in a meeting or a family member at dinner, make a conscious choice to keep your mouth closed for an extra 5 seconds. Notice what happens. You'll pick up on a hesitation in their voice, a hidden emotion, or a detail you would have missed. That pause doesn't make you rude. It makes you perceptive. You gain insight. You prevent that knee-jerk reaction that might derail the conversation. By retreating into quiet reflection, you learn to self-soothe. You observe the rise and fall of feelings, understand their roots, and release what no longer serves you. Over time, this practice builds patience and resilience, so that when life's storms hit, you remain centered rather than tossed around. Practical exercise. Ready to try it? Here's a simple routine to weave solitude into your week. 1. Daily mini retreat, 5-10 minutes. Choose a consistent time, first thing in the morning or right after work. Sit quietly with a notebook. Write whatever comes to mind. Thoughts, worries, dreams. Don't judge, just observe. 2. Guided solitude session, 15 to 20 minutes. Once or twice a week, turn off your phone, find a comfortable spot, and practice mindful breathing or a body scan meditation. Notice the sensations in your body, the rhythm of your breath, the quiet between breaths. 3. Weekend or day retreat. Pick one morning or afternoon each month to go deeper. No social media, no email, no errands. Bring a journal, a book, or just yourself. Let your mind wander. Reflect on big picture questions like, what do I truly want? Or how have I grown this year? Personal perspective. I'll be honest, at first I dreaded being alone. I felt guilty if I wasn't doing something productive, and I worried solitude meant loneliness. But when I committed to these mini retreats, I discovered an inner wellspring of ideas and calm I never knew existed. A solution to a tricky work problem popped into my head on a solo hike. Lyrics for a song I'd been stuck on flowed out during a silent morning at home. And emotionally, I felt more grounded, like I'd developed a friendship with my own mind. Questions to reflect on. What's one area of your life where you feel stuck or overwhelmed? Could a short period of solitude spark a breakthrough? How might regular alone time change the way you handle stress, relationships, or creative projects? Closing thought: solitude isn't about isolation. It's about empowerment. It's the practice of stepping away from the world's demands to reconnect with your inner compass. When you learn to enjoy your own company, you build unshakable self-worth, ignite your creativity, and cultivate lasting emotional stability. So today I challenge you, schedule your first mini retreat. Find a quiet spot, commit 5 minutes, and simply be with yourself. Notice what comes up. Then, over the next month, expand those pockets of solitude. Watch how this simple practice transforms not only your ideas, but the very way you live. Remember, true strength often comes in silence. Embrace your solitude, and you'll discover a well of inner power waiting to guide you. Let's face it, we live in an age of endless interruptions. Your phone buzzes every few minutes with notifications, social media feeds scroll on forever, and before you know it, you're lost in a sea of distractions. But here's the truth. Every ping, every scroll, every idle chat chips away at your focus and clouds your judgment. Today, we're tackling how to cut out that noise, both external and internal, so you can reclaim your attention and do your best work, live with purpose, and feel more in control of your life. External clutter. Think about your typical day. You wake up and immediately reach for your phone. Emails, texts, breaking news alerts. You sit down to work, and bing, Slack message. Dinner time rolls around, and you're still scrolling through Facebook or Instagram. It's exhausting, right? Those little interruptions break your concentration, slow you down, and leave you feeling frazzled. Here's a quick experiment. For the next 2 hours, turn off all non-essential notifications. No social media pings, No banners for newsletters. Even better, use your phone's Do Not Disturb or Focus mode so only truly important calls get through. You'll be surprised how much mental space opens up when you're not constantly reacting to every buzz. You'll enter a flow state where time flies and your best ideas emerge. Internal clutter. But distractions aren't just external. Our own minds are masters at derailing us with overthinking and self-doubt. You sit down to write that report and immediately thoughts swirl. What if it's not good enough? Maybe I'm the only one who hasn't finished this yet. That internal chatter can be even more disruptive than your phone. The first step to clear internal clutter is noticing it. When you catch yourself spiraling, pause and label the thought, oh, there's shoulding again, or there's that not enough voice. Simply naming the thought gives you distance and power over it. You're not your thoughts, you're the observer of your thoughts. Minimalist approach. So how do you actually cut through both types of clutter? Adopt a minimalist mindset for your attention. Treat your focus like a precious resource, not something to be frittered away. Here's a 3-step approach. 1. Set boundaries, screen time limits. Decide in advance how much time you will spend on social apps. Maybe 15 minutes at lunch, 10 minutes after dinner, no more. Use built-in timers or apps like Screen Time, iOS, or Digital Well-Being, Android, to enforce your limits. Distraction-free zones. Designate certain areas or times as device-free. Your bedroom might be one, or the first hour after you wake up. During these zones, keep your phone in another room or face down on silent mode. 2. Prioritize tasks daily. Top 3. At the start of each day, pick the 3 most important tasks that align with your goals. Write them on a sticky note or in a journal. Everything else is secondary. When you finish those 3, you've won the day, regardless of how many emails you sent. Time blocking. Block out chunks of uninterrupted time on your calendar for focused work. Treat these blocks like important meetings you can't miss. Let colleagues know you're in the zone and unavailable during those blocks. 3. Regularly review progress. At the end of each week, spend 10 minutes reflecting. Which distractions tripped you up? Which tasks got done? Celebrate your wins and adjust your boundaries for the week ahead. Maybe you need an extra deep work block or to tighten your screen time limits. Real-world example. I'll share a quick story. My friend Dave was constantly checking Twitter during work, convinced he needed every update in real time. He found himself working late, yet without much to show for it. He tried the 2-hour notification blackout and time-blocked his mornings for deep work. Within days, he was finishing tasks faster, feeling less stressed, and even enjoying his evenings. He realized that by cutting off those small distractions, he increased his overall productivity and peace of mind. Questions to ponder. What's the single biggest distraction pulling you away from what matters most? Is it your phone, a chatty coworker, or your own perfectionist thoughts? How would your day change if you reclaimed just 1 extra hour of focused time? What could you accomplish? Closing challenge. I challenge you to a distraction detox this week. 1. Notification fast. Pick one day to turn off all non-essential notifications. 2. Top 3 goals. Write down your 3 must-do tasks every morning, no matter what else happens. 3. Weekly reflection. Every Friday, review your progress. What worked? What didn't? Adjust for next week. By the end of the week, pay attention to how your energy feels. Do you feel more accomplished? Less frazzled? More in control? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else to take back their focus. Remember, distractions and noise don't just steal your time. They steal your clarity and your potential. But with simple boundaries, intentional prioritization, and regular reflection, you can cut through the clutter and live a more focused, fulfilled life. Here's to reclaiming your attention, 1 distraction-free moment at a time. Imagine standing at a crossroads every morning. One path leads to instant gratification, hitting snooze, scrolling social media, grabbing a sugary snack, while the other leads toward your long-term goals. A few extra minutes of sleep might feel good now, but how will you feel tomorrow if you miss your workout? That choice every single day is where self-discipline lives. Today, we're unpacking how cultivating discipline in your thoughts and routines can turn temptation into triumph, and why small, consistent actions are the secret to lasting transformation. The foundation for growth self-discipline isn't about willpower alone. It's about designing your environment and your schedule so you're less likely to get derailed by short-term urges. Imagine you've decided to read more books. If you leave your phone by your bedside, you'll probably scroll first thing. But if you place that book on your pillow and your phone in another room, your morning thumb automatically reaches for the novel instead of TikTok. That tiny change in environment shifts the path of least resistance, and that's discipline in action. The power of habit formation. Think of habits like money in the bank. Each deposit may feel small: waking up 10 minutes earlier, doing 5 push-ups, swapping your afternoon soda for water. But over time, they compound into real visible change. Want more proof? Look at the person who commits to a 10-minute walk daily. At first, 10 minutes seems trivial. A month later, they've walked over 4 hours. 4 hours of fresh air, movement, cleared headspace. Multiply that by a year, and you've invested over 40 hours in your health and mindset. Consistency is where the magic happens. Emotional regulation through discipline. But self-discipline goes beyond routines. It shapes how you respond to emotions. Picture this. You receive critical feedback at work. The first impulse might be defensiveness or a quick, sharp reply. Someone with practiced discipline pauses, takes a breath, and asks, "What can I learn here?" That pause, born of habit, turns an emotional reaction into a constructive conversation. Over time, this capacity to master impulses makes your decisions wiser and your relationships stronger. Personal experience. I'll share a quick story. Last year, I committed to writing 300 words every morning before checking my email. Some days, 300 words felt impossible. My bed was too cozy, my thoughts too scattered, but I showed up anyway. After a few weeks, I noticed my mornings felt calmer, my writing flowed more easily, and my self-talk shifted from "I can't" to "I can." That small, disciplined act set the tone for my entire day. Practical exercise. Define, structure, track. Ready to build your own discipline muscle? Try this 4-step exercise this week. 1. Define clear priorities. List your top 3 goals for the next month. Be specific. Write a 10,000-word short story, not "get better at writing." 2. Create a structured daily schedule. Block out consistent time slots for the actions that move you toward those goals. If you're aiming to write, schedule morning writing from 7 to 7:30 a.m. every weekday. No excuses. 3. Track your progress. Use a simple chart or an app to mark off each day you complete your habit. There's something deeply satisfying about that visual streak, and it keeps you honest. 4. Adjust habits for continuous improvement. At the end of the week, review your chart. Celebrate your wins and honestly ask where and why you fell short. Then tweak. Maybe 7 is too early, shift to 7:15. Maybe 300 words is too much, drop to 200. Questions to spark. Reflection. What's one habit you've wanted to build but never stuck with? How can you tweak your environment to remove temptation and make your desired action easier? When an emotional trigger hits this week, can you practice a pause, one deep breath, before reacting? Closing inspiration. Discipline isn't deprivation, it's devotion to your future self. Every choice you make today writes the story of who you'll become tomorrow. By designing habits that align with your values, tracking your progress, and learning from slip-ups, you build an unshakable foundation for growth. You'll discover that self-discipline isn't a burden, it's your greatest ally on the path to who you truly want to be. So pick one habit, define it clearly, schedule it, track it, and watch how, over days and weeks, your small steps lead to big transformations. Because real growth isn't found in grand gestures. It's built in the quiet, consistent actions we choose every single day. Life isn't a smooth road. It's more like a rocky trail filled with unexpected twists and turns. But what if I told you those bumps in the road are not signs to give up, but invitations to grow stronger? Today, let's talk about building mental resilience, the ability to face adversity head-on, stay anchored in our deepest values, and come out more confident on the other side. Adversity as opportunity. The Stoics taught that every challenge is a test of character. When something doesn't go your way, a project at work falls through, a relationship hits a rough patch, or you're wrestling with personal setbacks, you have a choice. You can see the obstacle as a roadblock, or you can treat it like a workout for your mind. Every time you tackle a problem instead of running from it, you're strengthening your resilience muscles. Think of adversity like weightlifting. You don't grow your biceps by lifting the lightest weight you can find. You challenge yourself with something heavy, maybe just a bit heavier than you're comfortable with, and your muscles adapt and grow. In the same way, when life presses on you, you get to discover inner strengths you didn't know you had. For example, a friend of mine lost her job unexpectedly last year. At first, she felt overwhelmed. She wondered if she'd ever recover, but then she reframed the situation. This is a chance to explore my passions, she told herself. She spent her days networking, brushing up on new skills, and eventually landed a role that was a better fit than anything she'd done before. What felt like a crisis turned into her springboard for growth. Long-term focus. The secret to riding out life's storms? Keep your eyes on the horizon. Short-term hardships can feel all-consuming, like a leak in a boat that's about to sink you. But if you zoom out and remind yourself of your enduring goals, whether it's building a career, nurturing meaningful relationships, or living in alignment with your values, you'll see that most setbacks are only temporary water splashes. Here's a simple technique. Create a personal North Star statement, a sentence or two that captures your highest aspiration. For instance, I want to inspire others through my writing, or I'm committed to building a loving, supportive family. Practical exercise, the daily journal. Let's put this into action with a simple journaling practice. Every evening, grab a notebook or open a note on your phone and write 2 lists. 1. Today's wins. 3 things you did that reflect your values. Maybe you spoke up in a meeting because honesty matters to you. Maybe you took 10 minutes to sketch because creativity foils you. 2. Today's setbacks. 1 or 2 moments where you felt off track. Perhaps you snapped at a colleague or you worked late at the expense of family's dinner. Don't judge yourself. Just record what happened and why you think it happened. Over time, these entries paint a clear picture. You'll see patterns. Maybe you're strongest in the morning but lose focus in the afternoon. Or you notice that when you skip your evening walk, another core value, you feel irritable. This insight is pure gold because it shows exactly where to adjust for better alignment. Scheduling reflection. Beyond nightly journaling, schedule a longer reflection session once a week, say Sunday afternoon. Set aside 15 to 20 minutes with no distractions. Reread your journal entries for the week and ask yourself, which actions made me feel most like my authentic self? What situations triggered stress or self-doubt, and why? How can I tweak next week's plan to lean into my strengths and avoid my traps? Maybe you decide to block off Friday afternoons for creative work, or you set a 7 p.m. cutoff for all screens so you can prioritize family time. These small adjustments, informed by honest self-examination, keep you moving toward your best self personal perspective. I'll share something from my own life. I used to pride myself on being always on, replying to emails late into the night, packing my schedule from dawn till dusk. But then I noticed a pattern. My journal was full of today's setbacks where I felt exhausted and disconnected. Once I admitted that rest and meaningful connection were core values for me, I set a hard boundary: no work after 8 p.m. At first, it felt uncomfortable, like I was falling behind. But within days, I slept better. My creativity surged during daytime work, and I felt more present with friends and family. Questions to reflect on. What core values guide your life? Have you written them down? When was the last time you checked in with your thoughts and feelings? Regularly checked in. Which part of your daily routine feels out of sync with who you want to be? Wrapping up, embracing self-awareness is like turning on your car's dashboard lights. You get real-time feedback so you can steer in the right direction before things go off the rails. By regularly assessing your inner world, aligning choices with your deepest values, and using simple practices like journaling and scheduled reflection, you'll build a life that feels authentic, purposeful, and deeply satisfying. So tonight, take 2 minutes. Notice what's on your mental dashboard. Then write down one small adjustment you can make tomorrow to honor your true self. That's the power of self-awareness in action. And it's the first step toward a life lived with intention and integrity. Have you ever noticed how much energy we spend trying to prove ourselves? Seeking likes on social media, fishing for compliments at work, or nervously waiting for someone to pat us on the back? That urge for approval comes straight from our ego, and it's a powerful force, but not always in a good way. In fact, it can derail our progress, cloud our judgment, and leave us feeling hollow inside. Today, let's explore why practicing humility and letting go of ego is a game changer for personal growth, stronger relationships, and genuine confidence. 1. The root of validation. At its core, ego is that voice inside saying, "Look at me," or "I need everyone to think highly of me." We all have it, but when we let it run the show, we end up chasing someone else's applause instead of focusing on real improvement. Humility flips that script. Instead of asking, "How do I look to others?" we ask, "How can I become better today?" That simple shift from external validation to continuous self-improvement unlocks a much deeper sense of fulfillment. Imagine you nail a big presentation and spend hours refreshing your inbox to see who congratulated you. That rush of praise feels good for a moment, but if you instead walked out thinking, "What can I learn from this? How could I make it even stronger next time?" You build skills and confidence that last far beyond a single compliment. 2. Embracing a learning mindset. Humility is the soil where growth thrives. When you admit, "I don't know everything," you open the door to new ideas, perspectives, and feedback. Picture a teammate giving you constructive criticism on your work. Your ego might bristle. Who do they think they are? But a humble response, "Thank you for pointing that out. I'd like to understand more," turns that moment into gold. You collect insights that sharpen your skills, and you earn respect for being coachable. Here's a quick story. I once worked with a client who was famously brilliant but notoriously defensive. During one session, I suggested a different approach to structuring their content. They shut me down instantly, and the result was a video that felt disjointed. Later, they admitted they were so focused on proving their expertise that they missed an opportunity to improve. That was a powerful reminder. Even our best ideas can get stale if we don't stay open to feedback. 3. Relationship benefits of humble listening. When ego takes a back seat, something beautiful happens in our interactions. We listen with genuine curiosity. That creates trust, diffuses conflict, and builds collaboration. Think about the last time someone really listened to you, nodded, asked follow-ups, made you feel heard. You probably felt a warm sense of connection, right? That's the gift you give others when you practice humility. Let's take a workplace scenario. You're in a brainstorming meeting and someone suggests an idea you hadn't considered. Your first instinct might be to dominate the conversation. After all, you want to look smart. But if you pause, lean in and say, "Tell me more about your thought process," you might find a gem that you would have missed. Plus, you strengthen the team's bond because people know their voices matter. 4. Practical exercise. Cultivating humility daily. So how do you build humility as a habit? Here's a simple 4-step exercise you can try this week. 1. Express gratitude. Out loud. Every day, thank one person for something specific. "Thanks for jumping in on that project yesterday. Your insights really helped." Public acknowledgement of others' contributions shrinks your ego and lifts their spirits. 2. Admit one mistake. Be brave enough to own up to a small error. Maybe you missed a deadline or your coffee recommendation backfired. Say it out loud. "I miscalculated that budget. I'm working on correcting it." Vulnerability breeds authenticity. 3. Ask for constructive criticism. Choose one trusted friend or colleague and say, "I really want to improve my presentation skills, time management / leadership style. Do you have any honest feedback?" Listen without interrupting or defending. 4. Reflect on ego triggers. At the end of each day, jot down one moment when you felt defensive or needed approval. Ask yourself, what was I afraid of? How could I reframe that situation with humility tomorrow? 5. A personal takeaway. I'll share a quick personal moment. I used to agonize over every video I posted, refreshing views, worrying about comments. It felt like riding an emotional roller coaster. Then a mentor challenged me. What if you focused on making the content better, not on the numbers? That advice shifted everything. I started celebrating small improvements, better pacing, clearer examples, and the metrics improved as a byproduct, not the goal. More importantly, I felt grounded and joyful in the process. 6. Questions to ponder. What's one area in your life where you're seeking too much external approval? How might leaning into humility change your approach to learning or collaboration? Who in your circle can you thank or ask for feedback this week? Closing thoughts. Humility isn't about thinking less of yourself. It's about thinking of yourself less and focusing on growth, learning, and lifting others up. When you let go of ego's grip, you free up mental space to experiment, to fail forward, and to connect more deeply with the people around you. It's a path to confidence that's unshakable because it's built on real progress, not on applause. So today, pick one of the exercises. Say thank you, admit a slip-up, or ask for feedback. Watch how that tiny act ripples outward, strengthening your skills, deepening your relationships, and quieting that voice that says, look at me. Because when you practice humility, you give yourself the true gift of continuous improvement and genuine connection. And that, my friends, is where real greatness begins. Have you ever reached the end of a busy day and wondered, what did I actually accomplish that really matters? In a world buzzing with tasks and distractions, it's easy to get swept along by what everyone else thinks is important. Likes, status updates, the next shiny thing. But what if you flipped the script and built your life around your own deepest values? That's what living with purpose and intention is all about. 1. Virtue-driven life. At the heart of a purposeful life lies a simple question. What do I stand for? Maybe integrity tops your list. You refuse to cut corners, even when no one is watching. Maybe compassion drives you. You make time to listen when friends or colleagues need support. When your daily actions align with these core virtues, you wake up feeling grounded, energized, and authentic. Contrast that with chasing fleeting desires, scrolling through your feed because it's entertaining, or saying yes to commitments that don't light you up just to avoid FOMO. Those choices might feel good in the moment, but they leave you hollow over time. Instead, imagine pausing whenever an opportunity arises and asking, does this choice reflect who I really want to be? That tiny pause can guide you back to your true north. 2. Vision and goals. Once you know your guiding values, it's time to craft a clear vision statement, a North Star for your life. It doesn't have to be a paragraph. A sentence or two is enough. For example, I want to build a career that uplifts others while maintaining balance and joy in my personal life. This vision becomes your filter for decisions big and small. Should you take on that extra project at work? Ask, will it move me closer to my vision, or will it steal time from the relationships and rest I value? Next, break your vision into meaningful goals. Set quarterly or annual targets. Maybe it's mentoring 3 teammates this year, or dedicating 2 weekends per month to family adventures. Then review those goals weekly. Celebrate progress when you tick a box and adjust when life shifts. That steady rhythm of goal setting and review keeps you aligned with what matters most, even when the noise of daily life tries to pull you off course. 3. Community impact. Living on purpose isn't a solo journey. When you embody your values in front of others, you become a living example, and that inspires those around you. Think of the teacher who shows up early every morning, or the neighbor who always volunteers at the food pantry. Those acts, small as they may seem, create ripples of positive change. Let's say your value is perseverance. You share your story of overcoming a major setback, maybe a failed business or a personal challenge, and you talk openly about the hard work it took to rebuild. Suddenly, someone struggling in silence feels less alone and more motivated to push through their own obstacles. That's the power of leading by example. 4. Practical exercise. Ready to make this real? Try this exercise over the next week. 1. Define your core values. Grab a notebook and list your top 3 values. Words like integrity, growth, compassion, or creativity. Don't overthink it. Trust your gut. 2. Create a vision statement. Turn those values into one clear sentence that captures your ideal life. Write it on a sticky note and place it where you can see it every morning. Your bathroom mirror, your phone's lock screen, or above your desk. 3. Daily reflection and gratitude. Each evening, spend 2 minutes asking, what did I do today that honored my values? And then list one thing you're grateful for in your purpose journey, maybe a meaningful conversation or a small act of kindness you witnessed. 4. Goal tracking ritual. Every Sunday, pick one concrete goal that connects to your vision, such as scheduling a 30-minute mentorship call or blocking time for a passion project. Track your progress in a simple spreadsheet or planner, and at the end of the week, note what worked and what you'll adjust next week. A personal note. I used to hustle nonstop, measuring success by how many emails I sent and meetings I crushed. But then I realized I was sacrificing creativity and real connection in the process. I paused, defined my core values, creativity, balance, impact, and wrote my vision. I create content that inspires growth while still having dinner with my family. When I started reviewing that vision weekly and saying no to anything that clashed, I found my work became richer, my relationships stronger, and my stress levels lower. Questions to reflect on. If you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about your daily routine to better reflect your values, what would it be? Who in your life already models the kind of purpose-driven life you aspire to? What can you learn from them? How will you celebrate your progress each week, even the small wins? Closing thought. Living with purpose and intention isn't a rigid path. It's a dynamic practice of checking in with yourself, aligning your actions with what you hold dear, and sharing that authenticity with your community. It transforms ordinary days into steps on a meaningful journey. So today, define your values, write your vision, and commit to one small action that moves you closer to that vision. Over time, those intentional choices will compound into a life that feels deeply yours, one that uplifts you and everyone around you. Let's embark on this journey together. By now, you've journeyed through a series of Stoic-inspired practices: silence, mindful focus, solitude, self-discipline, resilience, self-awareness, humility, and purpose. And you might be wondering, how do all these threads weave together into a life worth living? Here's the heart of it. Mastering yourself is the truest form of power. 1. Self-focus and silent strength. We started by learning to turn our attention inward, carving out moments of silence in a world that never stops talking. Those quiet pockets aren't emptiness. They're the hatchways to your inner command center. When you cultivate discipline around silence, you cultivate clarity. You train your mind to notice its own patterns, biases, and impulses rather than being tossed around by a flood of external noise or other people's opinions. 2. Discipline and solitude as foundations. Next, you discovered that self-discipline, those small, consistent habits, and solitude are not punishments or luxuries. They're essential tools. Like sharpening an axe before the work begins, daily rituals of focus and intentional alone time keep you ready for whatever life throws your way. Solitude allows your mind to wander into fresh ideas and deeper self-understanding, while disciplined routines protect your mental space from derailment by fleeting temptations. 3. Building resilience and emotional intelligence. Armed with clarity and routine, you can step into life's challenges with resilience. Each obstacle becomes an opportunity to test and grow your mental toughness. You learn to anchor yourself not in temporary comforts, but in the enduring vision of your goals. And through gratitude practices and honest self-reflection, you strengthen your emotional intelligence, managing setbacks not by bearing discomfort, but by facing it head-on and asking, what can I learn? 4. Humility and authentic connection. If all this focus ever starts to feel self-contained, like you're on an island. Remember that humility is your bridge to others. Letting go of ego means trading the frantic chase for applause in exchange for genuine growth and connection. You open yourself to feedback, you listen more than you speak, and you build trust. That's how you turn personal mastery into positive ripples in your community. Chapter 5. Living with Purpose and Intentionality. Finally, all these pieces converge in purpose-driven living. Silent reflection, focused habits, and resilient mindset aren't ends in themselves. They're the scaffolding that lets you build a life aligned with your deepest values. When every choice, big bar or small, passes through the filter of, does this serve my vision? You step off the treadmill of others' expectations and start walking your own path. Putting it into practice, daily check-in. Spend 5 minutes each morning in silence. Ask, what's my single intention for today? Weekly reflection. Review your journal on Sunday. Celebrate wins, note setbacks, and adjust one habit. Monthly vision review. Revisit your core values and vision statement. Are your goals still aligned? Fine-tune if needed. Community share. Once a month, share a lesson you have learned through a post, a call with a friend, or a team meeting. Amplify your impact by inspiring others. Why this matters. True power isn't about controlling others or stacking up achievements like trophies. It's about mastering your own thoughts, actions, and emotions, so you move through life with deliberate purpose, unwavering calm, and authentic strength. When silent, principled deeds speak louder than words, you build a reservoir of inner peace that no external circumstance can drain. As you continue on this path, remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's the sum of tiny choices made consistently, moments of silence, focused habits, honest reflection, humble listening, and aligned action. Keep at it, day by day, and you'll find yourself not just surviving chaos, but thriving amid it. So here's my invitation. Pause now, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what's the next small step you can take right now? Maybe it's setting your phone to do not disturb for 10 minutes, or writing one sentence in your journal. Whatever it is, let that step be your declaration. You're choosing the path of self-mastery, inner peace, and lasting fulfillment. Thank you for watching. If this video resonated, share your own first step in the comments. Let's support each other on the journey. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment of growth. Until next time, stay focused, stay silent when you need to, and keep living with purpose.